Welcome! This video is going to cover annexation as it relates to the properties of the Twin Lakes. This video is produced by the Twin Lakes Action Group, or TLAG for short, and our mission is to preserve the rural residential look and feel of our neighborhoods and surrounding area. What better way to discuss annexation than using one of my favorite childhood games, SimCity? Annexation is the process that a city uses to acquire land. The city limits define the jurisdictional boundary of the city, and new developments are typically restricted to this area. Let's assume the city limits of my artificial Boulder are indicated by the white lines. In order for the city to expand, county property would need to be annexed. Once this process is complete, the development would begin. This process repeats itself as the city grows. Understanding the annexation laws for Colorado likely requires several years of study. There are many criteria that must be met to make this process successful. But if you read this section of the annexation law, it covers the contentious issues surrounding the Twin Lakes properties. Not less than 1/6 the perimeter of the area proposed to be annexed is contiguous with the annexing municipality. Contiguity shall not be affected by the presence of a platted street or alley, a public or private right-of-way, a public or private transportation right-of-way or area, public lands, whether owned by the state, the United States, or any agency thereof, except county-owned open space, or a lake, reservoir, stream, or other natural or artificial waterway between the annexing municipality and the land proposed to be annexed. Subject to the requirements imposed by 3112-105-1E, contiguity may be established by the annexation of one or more prior parcels in a series, which annexations may be completed simultaneously and considered together. And I'll stop there. The key points are 1/6 contiguous, contiguity cannot be established using county-owned open space, and a series of annexations can be used to establish contiguity. So what does that mean in practice? Let's start with the 1/6. Here you see a Settlers of Catan board. Let's assume that the area that I've circled in the black is the city of Boulder. Here, I'll even add a few game pieces to make it look a little bit more populated. What if the purple player wanted to expand into the field, shown with the number 8? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides to this property. Since 1/6 of the perimeter of this property is contiguous to the city, it satisfies this requirement. The city could annex this land, and the purple player could build his longest road for his 2 victory points. The key here is that the property is contiguous to the city. What about the Twin Lakes properties? Here are the Boulder County Housing Authority and the Boulder Valley School District properties. And here are the city limits of Boulder. Uh-oh. Houston, we have a problem. These properties don't abut the city at all. There are 2 ways to correct this issue. First, there is a process that was mentioned earlier called serial annexation. In this case, the city could annex down Twin Lakes Road in a series of annexations. They split the road into small triangles, such that each triangle is 1/3 congruent to the previous annexation. In this manner, the city grows down the street until it borders the 2 properties. And now, these 2 properties are clearly congruent to the city and eligible for annexation. This is commonly called a flagpole annexation, since it looks like a flag sticking out of the city. There's one big caveat to this method of annexation. The law states that if a flagpole annexation is used, the property owners who are adjacent to the pole must be offered the opportunity to annex as well. Usually, this has a huge financial implication for the developer requesting the flagpole annexation, since water and sewer taps would need to be provided for each of these properties. In this particular case, the financial roadblocks may not be as large, since the properties shown in blue are already connected to the city water and sewer. There's a long history here, but suffice it to say, that's the way Gun Barrel was developed. A second way to establish contiguity is to use this parcel of land shown in blue. This is county-owned open space, and the Lobo Trail traverses the length of this property. If this property were annexed first, then the contiguity of the Boulder County Housing Authority parcel could be established, and the Boulder Valley School District property would follow. This is where it gets dicey. Annexing county-owned open space is unprecedented in the state of Colorado. TLAG has worked with several land use lawyers on this topic, and none of them have found any precedent. So much so that even the senior county planner had to confirm this position with Parks and Open Space. In an email from Pete Fogg to Janice Wisman, Pete states that the open space policies have not supported annexation of open space to establish contiguity. Is this really what you're supporting? And Janice replies that Ron Stewart, the director of Parks and Open Space, supported the annexation of county-owned open space to achieve the contiguity. TLAG found this position so egregious that we decided to change our mission statement to firmly oppose the use of open space in this manner, to preserve the rural residential look and feel of our neighborhoods and adjacent land, and to prevent the use of open space for annexation. The next question we decided to research was if this had ever been requested before. What we found was simply appalling. If you recall from the introductory video, the Boulder County Housing Authority acquired this land in 2013 from the Archdiocese. At that time, Sacred Heart of Jesus was looking to relocate their church to Gun Barrel, and hired the planning group to investigate development of their Twin Lakes property. A 2006 church bulletin summarized the findings of this investigation. The document states that in order to establish contiguity, they would need to annex the open space property to the north, and the director of the Boulder County Open Space strongly opposed such a proposal. Can you guess who the director was at the time? Yep, you're right, Ron Stewart. He spent his career fighting to acquire and protect open space property, and he's actually going to retire next month. But if all of this goes down as planned, the legacy he'll be remembered for will be for allowing annexation through county-owned open space. The planning group even suggested that the Sacred Heart of Jesus keep the church downtown and look at building senior housing in the future at the Twin Lakes in order to make annexation more palatable. The question is, why is the Boulder County Housing Authority able to do this annexation, but the church wasn't? When we asked this question of staff, they simply dismissed it and said that what happened in 2006 is ancient history. The interesting thing, though, is that the church was not the only one who inquired about annexing these properties. As reported by Erica Meltzer in a recent Daily Camera article, a private developer inquired about the possibility of annexing these properties shortly before the county commissioners decided to purchase the land. And what response did he get? Crickets. So why the Boulder County Housing Authority and not a private developer? In a 2013 letter from Frank Alexander, the director of the Boulder County Housing Authority, to the Boulder County Commissioners, he analyzed the risks and opportunities of purchasing this property. He stated that Boulder County is uniquely positioned to lead this process because the county owns the property to the north, and they have strong support from the Boulder County Parks and Open Space. He even states that other buyers would have to annex down the Twin Lakes Road. As an opportunity, Frank listed the unusually low purchase price due to the land constraints. It all sounds like a really sick political drama, doesn't it? Why is the Boulder County Housing Authority getting special treatment? The question TLAG has is simple. Is this the precedent that we want to set for our county open space? Why should we allow annexation through county-owned open space when there's a very clear alternative? Shouldn't open space serve as a buffer to development? Isn't that why we taxed ourselves? Can the precedent that Ron Stewart is pushing for open the floodgates for other properties in Boulder County? For the state of Colorado? Certainly, all landowners in Boulder County who are adjacent to county open space should be concerned with Parks and Open Space's position. Or perhaps we need to ask the question differently. Why would the commissioners want to set this precedent when they are well aware that there's another method to annex these properties? One thought that came to our mind is the muni. Gun Barrel is a major hindrance to the Boulder municipalization plan since there's a mix of city and county residents. Excel's stance is that they need to be able to service county residents, and in order to do that reliably, they need their own distribution network. In other words, the city would need to flip the bill to run new lines to separate the county residents from the city's power grid. The precedent of annexing lands across county-owned open space could make it easier to annex Gun Barrel. Under current law, county enclaves can automatically become part of the city after 3 years with no vote. The city is actively pursuing this strategy today. So here's a map of the properties that were recently approved for annexation into the city. Let's focus on this particular property. Isn't it interesting that the property directly to the east is not being annexed? And here's a closer look. The land that they are annexing is actually city-owned open space. And by doing this, the city is creating an enclave around the Knollwood subdivision. Essentially, they're surrounding the subdivision by city. And that's intentional. It would be very expensive to duplicate power lines for this area. So their solution is to basically make it part of the city. Now, they could ask the Knollwood residents if they want to become part of the city, but they're not asking. After 3 years, without a vote, they're automatically part of the city. So here's a map of Gun Barrel. The city limits are approximated by the red line. And as you can see, Gun Barrel is surrounded by city and county-owned open space. Is it that complicated to create an enclave? Could this be the endgame for the city? Look, I'll let you decide. My job was just give you the information. On that note, let's wrap this one up. To summarize, annexation is required to develop the Twin Lakes properties, and these properties are not congruent to the city. There are 2 methods to establish this congruency, but their stated position is to annex the county-owned open space. And finally, the city is actively pursuing the annexation of county lands to support their municipalization effort. If you'd like to help, there are a few things you can do. First, join TLAG by sending us an email. Sign our petition. Donate. Write letters to share your thoughts and opinions with our governing bodies. Attend meetings. At this point, the most critical ones are on August 30th and October 13th. The 4 governing bodies will meet to take public comment on the Twin Lakes properties. This will be your last opportunity to be heard before they make their decisions. You can also like us on Facebook and find all of this information and more at tlag.org. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and we'll be back with more topics soon.